Breaking: crime boss agrees to expose Seth Rich's murder, but he's got one demand. Even criminals know that the Democrat Party is covering something up. Internet hacker and real-life Bond villain Kim.com says he has evidence that Seth Rich was behind the DNC email leak. In exchange for public testimony before the Senate, he's demanded safe passage from New Zealand to the United States and back, given that he's a wanted criminal in the US. Kim.com was behind the file-sharing website Megaupload, which was shut down in 2012. .com is wanted by the United States government for copyright infringement and other charges. Now, the larger-than-life hacker is speaking out about the murder of Seth Rich. He claims the two were collaborating on a political project. In a statement released to his website, Kim.com explains that he had been in contact with Seth Rich since 2014. According to .com, Seth Rich contacted him to discuss the possibility of bringing the Internet Party to America. The Internet Party is a new political party created by Kim.com 3 years ago. It is based on a platform of internet freedom and protecting privacy. Seth Rich said he had created voter analytical tools that would be useful to launching the Internet Party in America. The two also discussed political corruption and how to change the system from the inside. Now, Kim.com is hoping to provide evidence to investigators that Seth Rich was behind the leak. .com is clearly very serious and is willing to testify before the Senate under oath. As previously stated, Kim.com said he is willing to travel to America from New Zealand, provided he is granted safe passage and the guarantee that he would not be arrested. He claims that his lawyers have been in talks with special counsel Robert Mueller to make arrangements. .com made his fortune as an information broker, and he has dirt on just about anyone who is anyone. The Democrats must be squirming in their seats at the prospect of him testifying before Congress. .com has the power to bring down empires, and the Democrats have now crossed him. If Kim.com is refused safe passage, it will be a clear indicator that Robert Mueller is helping the Democrats with a cover-up. The hacker clearly has some very important information to share, and given his influence, Kim.com cannot be easily dismissed. What do you think about this? Comment below. And below, Melania just made Vatican crowd go wild after she teaches Michelle a big lesson in front of entire world. All eyes were on First Lady Melania Trump as she arrived at the Vatican, especially after Michelle Obama had just been spotted in Italy disrespecting Christian holy sites. Italians were aghast yesterday at Michelle's behavior, but today, as Melania stepped from her vehicle at the Vatican, Italians were cheering. You will be too when you see how she just restored America's dignity in Italy while teaching Michelle a big lesson she won't forget. Italians were aghast yesterday at Michelle's behavior, but today, as Melania stepped from her vehicle at the Vatican, Italians were cheering. You will be too when you see how she just restored America's dignity in Italy while teaching Michelle a big lesson she won't forget. Melania Trump stepped from her vehicle at the Vatican with the president at her side, wearing all black with a beautiful veil on her head as is the custom. Ivanka Trump also wore a veil, looking stunning in black as they met Pope Francis. Melania, who is Catholic, chose the more traditional Spanish-style mantilla veil. Melania was also able to show off her linguistic skills when the Pope struck up a conversation with her in Italian. Ivanka Trump also wore a veil, looking stunning in black as they met Pope Francis. Melania, who is Catholic, chose the more traditional Spanish-style mantilla veil. Melania was also able to show off her linguistic skills when the Pope struck up a conversation with her in Italian. What do you give him to eat? The Pope asked her in Italian, referring to President Donald Trump. He then suggested, potica, which is a Slovenian treat. First Lady Melania reportedly responded with delight and laughed. After their light-hearted exchange, Melania asked the Pope to bless her rosary. The optics of Americans respecting the rules of decent dress was sorely needed after Michelle Obama humiliated herself at a Siena cathedral just the day before. Unfortunately, the world still sees Michelle Obama as an American leader, and she deliberately disrespected the customs and the Christian faith with her postage stamp-sized top which was falling off of her as she walked. The liberal Hollywood Life website weighed in, shockingly agreeing that Michelle's top was all wrong, saying that this look was a little more risque than those we normally see Michelle in, with little strings used in lieu of sleeves to keep the shirt together on her sides. So it is up for debate whether it is the right outfit for Michelle or not. It was a truly cringeworthy scene, and one that the Italians saw as a clear sign of disrespecting Jesus Christ. Anyone who has visited cathedrals in Italy knows about the dress code, and there is no doubt Michelle Obama knew what she was doing as a world traveler. The dress codes are visible at the cathedral doors. Liberal loons are accusing Melania of wearing a veil at the Vatican while she did not wear a hijab in Saudi Arabia. There's a big difference. Wearing a hijab in Islam has everything to do with covering up a woman so others can't see her. It's something they are mandated to do in Islamic countries as women have no rights. Mr. Willie, a BBC fashion critic, was particularly impressed with Mrs. Trump's choice of outfit, where other mainstream media outlets were screeching about her trip to Saudi Arabia and not wearing the hijab. Willie said, "To my eyes, what Mrs. Trump wore was perfect. She was rather elegantly dressed, and totally in keeping with the event. The Trump party, as a whole, observed normal protocol and dress." Melania Trump has gained the love and respect of the Italian people. In her quiet way and with her fashion sense, she showed the world that not all Americans are as uncouth and as unclassy as the Obamas. We owe her a debt of gratitude for representing America in the best possible light, erasing the undignified behavior of Michelle and replacing it with the grace of a Christian mother and wife. We owe her a debt of gratitude for representing America in the best possible light, erasing the undignified behavior of Michelle and replacing it with the grace of a Christian mother and wife. Share this post if you are proud of Melania Trump. What do you think about this? Comment below. This is incredible. Melania Trump is about to make White House history. You will love this. When Melania Trump recited the Lord's Prayer before Melbourne, Florida presidential rally in February, the internet went hog wild. Now we know one reason why the First Lady began with "Let us pray and Our Father who art in heaven" when she introduced the president that evening. She's a practicing Roman Catholic. Melania will be first Catholic in the White House since the Kennedys. Her spokeswoman Stephanie Grisham confirmed that on Wednesday, hours after Pope Francis blessed the rosary for her at the Vatican. The last Catholics to live in the White House were John F. Kennedy and his wife Jackie. Melania and her son Barron will move to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue over the summer. Mrs. Trump did more than just show up for a papal audience. She spent time in prayer at the Vatican-affiliated Bambino Gesù, Baby Jesus, hospital, and laid flowers at the feet of a statue of the Madonna. She also prayed in the hospital chapel and read to a young Greek boy in need of a donor heart, holding his hand in the intensive care unit while camera shutters snapped. The Almighty may have heard her. Upon landing in Belgium, I learned a young boy and his family who had been waiting for a heart transplant was informed that the hospital has found a donor, she said in a statement. I read a book and held hands with this special little one just a few hours ago, and now my own heart is filled with joy over this news. The First Lady later tweeted about the development with the hashtags #blessings and #faith. In another tweet, she sent blessings to all after her papal audience. Mrs. Trump told Pope Francis at the Vatican that she was looking forward to going to the hospital for the Bambinos. She later called the visit very moving. To spend time speaking to and coloring with children who have such a positive spirit despite illness was an amazing gift, she said. The time I spent with the little ones in the intensive care unit is something I will never forget, and I will pray for each of them daily. What do you think about this? Comment below. Ted Cruz goes after Soros and Obama with stunning new investigation. Senator Ted Cruz, along with a few other Republican senators, are going right for the jugular. They're launching an investigation into former President Obama's influence in overseas politics, which was done on the taxpayers' dime and through George Soros' U.S. aid organization. These senators want Secretary of State Rex Tillerson to immediately investigate efforts by Obama administration to sway foreign elections by sending taxpayer funds to extreme and sometimes violent political activists. Free Beacon reports. The lawmakers disclosed multiple conversations with foreign diplomats who outlined active political meddling by the Obama administration's State Department, including the use of taxpayer funds to support leftist causes in Macedonia, Albania, Latin America, and Africa. A portion of the State Department funding appears to have gone to organizations supported by the controversial liberal billionaire George Soros, according to the letter, which was authored by Republican Senators Mike Lee, Utah, Jim Inhofe, Oklahoma, Tom Tillis, NC, Ted Cruz, Texas, David Perdue, Georgia, and Bill Cassidy, Law. The senators are asking Tillerson to launch a full-scale investigation into these funding efforts in order to determine how exactly the Obama administration sought to promote left-leaning causes and political parties across the globe. The latest disclosures of this activity mirror efforts by the Obama administration to send taxpayer funds to Israeli organizations that opposed Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in the country's last election. Political leaders from a range of nations spent months informing the lawmakers about these activities. Over the past few months, elected officials and political leaders of foreign nations have been coming to me with disappointing news and reports of U.S. activity in their respective countries, Lee said in a statement. This includes reports of diplomats playing political favorites, U.S. aid funds supporting extreme and sometimes violent political activists, and the U.S. government working to marginalize the moderates and conservatives in leadership roles. This sort of political favoritism from our missions around the world is unacceptable and endangers our bilateral relationships, he said. Share on Facebook and Twitter if you stand with Ted Cruz.